First charge this morning that you have before the court is one count of first-degree murder. It's alleged that on the 29th of July, Mr. Braden Williams was located deceased from apparent gunshot wounds on Carrington Road in Tiptonville in Lake County, Tennessee. During the course of the investigation, it was determined that Mr. Drummond did with premeditation knowingly and intentionally kill Mr. Braden Keith Williams with the use of a firearm.
Quadruple murder suspect Austin Drummond will be moved to state prison ahead of his upcoming trial, as officials say that his behavior behind bars includes covering his cell door with feces. How disgusting, and that's creating problems, understandably so. So they say that's the reason for the move. Now, this guy, you might remember, he made national headlines when he caused a manhunt after police say he murdered 4 family members and then kidnapped and abandoned a baby. Well, he was back in court on Monday for some unrelated charges, but the issue was raised during that appearance that he's a problem in the county jail. So here's how Lake County Assistant District Attorney Andrew Hayes has described Mr. Drummond's behavior, saying, quote, he's had some disciplinary issues with possession of Suboxone strips, which is a Schedule II narcotic in Tennessee, or a Schedule II controlled substance, so prohibited. He's also had some issues with covering his cell door with various things such as paper and feces. Drummond will now be moved to a state prison within the Tennessee Department of Corrections system, where he's set to remain in custody until his trial is held on May 7th, 2026. The exact prison location not revealed quite yet. But what we want to talk about first this morning with our power panel is how common is it for prisons to house detainees who ordinarily would be at the local jail? Let's bring in retired Assistant Sheriff in Charleston County, South Carolina, Mitch Lucas, who also ran the largest jail in South Carolina, and retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith. Good morning to you both. Mitch, I'll start with you. How common is this?
It's not real common, but it happens. It's called safekeeping, typically a small jail, and in this case, the jail's 149 beds. And they're not, they don't have the resources to deal with a real disciplinary problem like this guy is. So they send him to a state prison where they have better resources, more manpower, more programs to deal with it better than a small jail would.
Mm-hmm, sure. You know, it sounds like this guy's on his way to picking up some criminal charges to me. What do you say, Detective Smith?
Well, he's not a good guy. I mean, you know, just look at his past. He's not your model citizen as well as an inmate. But the judge has a responsibility to not just the defendant in this. He has a responsibility to other inmates and the corrections officers to keep them safe. And I think that has a big part in moving him to a facility where he can be more monitored and kept under control so there's no more violence towards anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at his criminal past. And now that you mention it, Detective, take a look at this. So this guy started young. He was charged with aggravated robbery for a store incident at the age of 17. Threatened to go after jurors in a robbery case. Also charged with attempted murder while he was behind bars. Tried to kill somebody while in custody. And I've talked about this before on the show. I've really popped off quite a bit about it, how this guy shouldn't have been given a bond after he picked up those charges in jail. He should have been held, but he was let out. He was given a bond, and then he picked up the instant case we're talking about with the shooting of 4 family members that he allegedly did, according to authorities, in the kidnapping and abandoning of the baby, allegedly. I have a clip of Drummond speaking to Scripps News Nashville during a jailhouse interview. He's talking about the fear that he has when he's behind bars. Let's take a look.
Yes, as long as it's not related to the facts of your case or anything that could infringe on your Fifth Amendment rights, I'm fine with that, sir.
I'm just wondering, is now the time I need to ask for a quick speech right now? How's that?
Well, now that I've appointed you counsel, any motions that will be filed will go through your attorney, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
I was afraid. because I know bad things happened. And I was afraid that because I was an informant, things would go wrong. Things would happen to me.
All right, as you heard, Drummond saying that he was an informant, claims to have worked for federal authorities, later saying in that same interview with our Scripps News local station that he had become a member of the Vice Lords gang during a previous stint while he was locked up. But he says his cover was blown in the weeks before the homicides occurred. So, this was raised in our newsroom yesterday. We were discussing this. Could he be acting out in the jail, doing these disgusting things because he's in fear for his life to try to deter other inmates from coming near him? Sheriff, what do you say? Sheriff, you're shaking your head. Tell us why, please.
No, I've actually spoken with someone that's a little bit involved with this jail, and this is a retaliation for enforcing rules. He's acting out because he's not getting something he wants, or just being disruptive because he can. But spearing feces over your cell door is not anything that would make you safer in jail, or even it's going to make the inmates that are in there more angry because it disrupts their lives. When he disrupts the jail, it disrupts everybody's lives in jail. So this isn't going to protect him any. This is just retaliation for rules enforcement in jail.
You know, I really appreciate the insight, Sheriff. Tom, let me go to you next on something. This guy claims to be a member of the Vice Lords gang. He's a violent felon. Someone thought it was a good idea to give him a bond. And it was while he was out on bond that he picks up the instant case. Your thoughts on whether the system failed the public?
Well, if you look through the criminal justice system in certain cases that are going on lately, there's a lot of failures. You see this narrative all over the place of bonds and cash bail and all that. And then these individuals going out who are violent to begin with. Let's make that clear. These aren't just, first-time offenders. These are violent people that judges are letting out on the street to let them do whatever they want. And in the most cases that we talk about, even on your show, Julie, they always tend to commit another violent act, which a lot of times ends the life of somebody.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Tom. So let's talk about his push for a speedy trial here. And now with the move to a state prison. Sheriff Mitch, do you think this is going to make anything difficult for him now being housed in state custody? I would imagine it's not going to be quite as easy to prep with his lawyer in the county jail. What do you think?
Well, I mean, this happens on an infrequent basis, but the lawyer will have as much access as he needs, and the prison will cooperate with him. The one thing that the prison officials are not going to want to do is have to go in and explain to a judge why he wasn't able to prepare for his case properly. So depending on where they locate him physically, how far it is from Lake County, that would be the only obstacle. But even then, Zoom and other methods of communication are available.
Gotcha. And then we're just about out of time, but Detective Tom, quickly, there's been speculation that maybe other people were involved in this incident. I'm curious, do you think that this guy had help if he allegedly did what he's accused of?
Well, no, I don't. But, that's why investigations continue while trials go on. Just because someone's under arrest, the investigation doesn't stop. So if there is any outlining factors in this and other suspects that they need to look into, they'll continue the investigation and see if that's actually the case.
Such great insight from you both. As always, Detective Tom Smith, Sheriff Mitch Lucas, thank you both so much for being on Opening Statements today. We'll see you soon.